Ever pondered how adult-like expectations influence a child's growth? A thought-provoking question, isn't it? As we delve into this topic, we'll unravel how certain expectations, ones that we might deem normal or even necessary, can sometimes become obstacles in the natural progression of a child's growth. The concept of adult like expectations on children isn't a new one. It's been around for as long as the idea of childhood itself. These expectations can range from academic achievements to emotional maturity to the ability to make informed decisions. However, it's essential to remember that children are not mini adults, and expecting them to behave and think like one can be detrimental to their growth. The world of a child is filled with curiosity, exploration, and playfulness. It's a world where they learn about themselves and their surroundings. It's where they learn about their capabilities and limitations. But what happens when we place adult like expectations on them? We inadvertently strip away their innocence and playfulness. We take away their time to explore and learn at their own pace. And most importantly, we hinder their ability to naturally develop and adapt. Now, you might be wondering, isn't it important for children to learn about responsibilities and consequences? Yes, it absolutely is. But there's a fine line between teaching children about responsibilities and burdening them with adult like expectations. The latter can lead to undue stress, anxiety, and a host of other mental health issues. These expectations can also affect a child's self esteem. They might start feeling inadequate if they are unable to meet these expectations, leading to a negative self image. This, in turn, can affect their future interactions, relationships, and overall mental health. So, it's important for us to be mindful of the expectations we place on our children. We need to remember that they are still learning and growing. They have their whole lives ahead of them to be adults. Let's let them be children while they can. Let's explore how the burden of these expectations impacts our children's development. This journey won't be an easy one, but it's a necessary conversation that we need to have for the sake of our children's well being. Sigmund Freud, a renowned psychologist, once said, "Every child is, in a certain sense, a genius, and every genius is, in a certain sense, a child." This profound observation underscores the significance of child development theories as a roadmap to understanding the journey of a child's growth. Let's dive into some of the key theories that have shaped our understanding of child development. Starting with Freud himself, he proposed a psychosexual theory of development, where he highlighted 5 stages: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. Each stage, Freud believed, played a crucial role in shaping a child's personality. Forcing adult like expectations at any stage could disrupt this natural progression, leading to psychological issues. Then we have Erik Erikson, who expanded on Freud's theories and proposed a psychosocial theory of development. Erikson emphasized the role of society and culture, proposing 8 stages of development, each characterized by a conflict that the child must resolve. Failure to successfully navigate these stages due to premature adult-like expectations could lead to an inability to handle future crises. Jean Piaget, another influential figure, proposed a cognitive development theory. He suggested that children move through 4 stages of cognitive growth, each marked by new intellectual abilities and understandings. Imposing adult expectations too early might hinder a child's natural cognitive progression. stifling their intellectual growth. Then there's the social learning theory by Albert Bandura, which emphasizes the role of observational learning. Children learn by observing adults, imitating their behavior. If adults impose their expectations prematurely, it might limit the child's ability to learn naturally, shaping them into mere mimics of adult behavior. These theories, though different, all emphasize the importance of each stage of a child's development. They warn against the dangers of skipping any stage due to adult like expectations. It's crucial to remember that the child is not a miniature adult, but a growing individual with their own pace and path of development. As Carl Jung mentioned, the greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. Let's ensure we are not living our unfulfilled dreams through our children, but rather nurturing their growth at their own pace. Do we ever consider the psychological impact these expectations have on our children? A question that invites us to ponder deeply on the effects our expectations might have on a child's mental well being. Unrealistic expectations can be likened to a heavy burden a child is made to bear, a burden that is not theirs to carry. When we impose adult like expectations on children, we unwittingly set a stage for stress and anxiety to creep in. Children, in their attempt to meet these expectations, may find themselves grappling with feelings of inadequacy and self doubt. The pressure to conform and perform can take a toll on their mental health, leading to unnecessary stress, anxiety, and even depression. Two psychologists who've extensively studied child development, Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky, have provided insights that support this argument. Piaget, known for his theory of cognitive development, emphasized the importance of a child's ability to explore and understand their world at their own pace. He believed that children are not miniature adults, but unique individuals who experience and interpret the world differently. Vygotsky, on the other hand, focused on the social and cultural influences on a child's growth. He proposed that learning happens in a social context, and imposing adult like expectations can disrupt this natural progression. He argued that children need space to learn and grow, to make mistakes and learn from them, without the constant pressure to conform to adult standards. When we impose our expectations on children, we risk stifling their creativity, curiosity, and natural desire to learn. We rob them of their childhood, replacing the joy of discovery with the dread of not meeting expectations. So let's remind ourselves of what Piaget once said. The principal goal of education is to create individuals who are capable of doing new things, not simply repeating what other generations have done. It's about time we reassess our expectations and allow children to grow and learn at their own pace, in their own unique way. Let's nurture their curiosity, foster their creativity, and most importantly, let them be children. Let's delve into some real life examples. Our first case is a study conducted by Stanford University in the late 20s. A group of children were subjected to high academic expectations at a young age. The result? Nearly half of these children suffered from anxiety disorders by their teenage years. This clearly shows the detrimental effects of premature pressure. Next, let's consider a case from the 70s. Renowned psychologist David Elkind observed the effects of societal expectations on children's play. Children who were pushed to engage in structured adult-directed activities over free play exhibited higher levels of stress and lower levels of creativity. This goes to show that robbing children of their playfulness hinders their ability to naturally develop and adapt. Fast forward to the 21st century, a study by the University of Minnesota highlighted the impact of parental expectations on children's self esteem. Children with parents who had unrealistic expectations were found to have lower self esteem and a higher likelihood of developing depressive symptoms. In a more recent study carried out by the University of California, Berkeley, researchers found that children who were subjected to high expectations exhibited signs of burnout and disengagement from school by the time they reached adolescence. This is a clear indication that imposing adult like expectations can strip away a child's innocence and joy for learning. And lastly, let's look at a 2020 study by the University of Virginia. The research concluded that children subjected to high expectations from their parents showed a decrease in motivation and an increase in feelings of worthlessness over time. These case studies are not isolated incidents, rather, they serve as a stark reminder of the negative impacts that adult like expectations can have on a child's mental and emotional health. These cases exemplify the words of Alice Miller. Children are messengers from a world we once deeply knew, but we have long since forgotten, who can guide us to that rediscovery. So, what should be the right approach to expectations? Here we step into the realm of balanced expectations, a concept as delicate as it is crucial. Balanced expectations form the tightrope that parents, mentors, and educators must learn to walk, fostering the child's growth without burdening their spirit. This balance is not about lowering expectations, but rather adapting them to fit the child's developmental stage and individual capabilities. It's about providing an environment that encourages exploration and learning, but also acknowledges the child's right to make mistakes and learn at their own pace. The renowned psychologist Erik Erikson once said, "Children cannot be fooled by empty praise and condescending encouragement. They may have to accept artificial bolstering of their self esteem in lieu of something better, but what I call their accruing ego identity gains real strength only from wholehearted and consistent recognition of real accomplishment." This quote encapsulates the essence of balanced expectations. Balanced expectations mean recognizing real accomplishments, however small they may be, and understanding that every child's journey is unique. It's about celebrating progress, not just end results. It's about teaching resilience and the ability to bounce back from failures rather than avoiding them altogether. It's also about understanding that children are not miniature adults. They are individuals in their own right, with their own strengths, weaknesses, interests, and pace of growth. As Albert Einstein once said, "Everybody is a genius." But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. Our expectations should never make a child feel stupid for being who they are. In a nutshell, balanced expectations require us to be patient, understanding, and open minded. They require us to adapt our expectations to the child's evolving needs and abilities, rather than imposing rigid standards that may stifle their natural growth. In the words of Donald Winnicott, the good enough mother starts off with an almost complete adaptation to her infant's needs, and as time proceeds, she adapts less and less completely, gradually, according to the infant's growing ability to deal with her failure. This is the essence of balanced expectations and the key to fostering healthy, confident, and resilient children. How can we foster a healthy developmental environment for our children? That's a question that often stirs up a lot of contemplation and discussion among adults. But don't fret, there are some proven strategies that can guide us. One of the most effective strategies is encouraging playfulness. As adults, we often underestimate the power of play. It's not just about having fun, it's a child's way of understanding the world around them. Playfulness fosters curiosity, creativity, and problem solving skills. It can be as simple as letting your child explore their surroundings or encouraging them to engage in imaginary play. The goal here is to provide them with the freedom to learn and grow at their own pace. Remember, it's not about rushing their development, but nurturing it. Another critical strategy is to foster creativity. Creativity is not just about painting or playing an instrument, it's about thinking outside the box and coming up with innovative solutions. Encourage your child to ask questions, to think critically, and to be imaginative. This can be done through various activities that stimulate their mind and allow them to express their thoughts and ideas freely. Lastly, let's talk about learning at their own pace. Every child is unique and they develop at different rates. Comparing them to their peers or pushing them to meet unrealistic expectations can be detrimental. Instead, observe their growth, acknowledge their efforts, and guide them. Provide them with the tools and opportunities to learn, but let them set the pace. This approach will not only boost their self esteem, but also foster a love for learning. In conclusion, fostering a healthy developmental environment is about striking a balance. It's about letting our children be children. It's about guiding them without imposing our own expectations. It's about providing them with the space to grow, to explore, to create, and to learn in their own unique way. As Erik Erikson stated, children love and want to be loved, and they very much prefer the joy of accomplishment to the triumph of hateful failure. Let's remember these words as we strive to foster healthy development in our children. Let's reflect on what we've learned. The journey we've embarked upon has taken us through the intricate corridors of child development, the towering expectations we sometimes impose on our young ones, and the profound impact these can have on their mental health and overall growth. We started by understanding the weight of adult like expectations on a child's growth. It's like placing a heavy backpack on a sapling, expecting it to stand tall and robust. Instead, it hinders its natural growth, stifles its innate abilities, and potentially warps its form permanently. We delved into the theories of child development, acknowledging the wisdom of renowned psychologists who have dedicated their lives to understanding the complexities of a child's mind. They've shown us that every child is unique, each with their own pace of development. We then explored the impact of these expectations on a child's mental health. We learned that these burdens can lead to stress, anxiety, and depression in children, stripping them of their innocence and playfulness. It's like asking a butterfly to fly before it has had the chance to emerge from its cocoon. We examined real life case studies, which sadly demonstrated the negative impact of high expectations. We saw that instead of fostering growth, these expectations often create a sense of inadequacy and underachievement in children, pushing them into the shadows of self doubt. We also discussed the need for balanced expectations. We emphasize that expectations are not inherently negative. They can be a guiding light for children, helping them navigate the path of life. But they must be balanced, realistic, and flexible, allowing room for the child to grow, make mistakes, learn, and ultimately be themselves. We shared strategies to foster healthy child development. We underscored the importance of providing a nurturing environment that encourages curiosity, creativity, and resilience. We learned about the power of positive reinforcement and the value of teaching children to embrace failures as stepping stones to success. In conclusion, we've seen that the role of adults in a child's life is not to mold them into a preconceived ideal, but to provide the support and guidance they need to blossom into their unique selves. We need to let children be children, to learn through play, to explore their world, and to grow at their own pace. As we conclude, I encourage you to reflect upon these insights. Consider the children in your life. Are your expectations helping them to grow, or are they hindering their development? Are you providing a nurturing environment that allows them to explore, learn, and develop at their own pace? Remember Maria Montessori's words: the greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say, the children are now working as if I did not exist. Let's strive to create an environment where our children can thrive, not in spite of us, but because of us.